Greetings and salutations from beautiful Greenville, North Carolina. Welcome back to my channel, where today we're going to be discussing the Adidas Adifoam SST Superstar boot. Now, it's something that I just recently picked up, and after picking it up, I feel it is a huge missed opportunity for Adidas. Now, we're going to cover my impressions of the design and fit, styling and price point, and lastly, why I think Adidas fumbled the bag on this particular shoe. Now, we've got a lot to cover, so let's get right into it. Now, unless you've been living under a rock for the last few years, you'll know that the rubber and foam shoe has been dominating the space. From the Bottega Puddle boot to the game-changing Yeezy foam runner and everything in between. Hailed for their comfort and functionality in moist situations, the foam and rubber shoe has nestled itself nicely into the rotation. Now, Adidas is no stranger to this, as they were the ones who manufactured the acclaimed Yeezy foam runner. They have since led the charge on the affordable side, dropping a number of iterations of the foam shoe. Now, when I first saw these, I knew instantly it's the design that I had been looking for at just the right price point. The boot is laceless and built out of a soft foam that is supposedly made out of a minimum of 50% natural and renewable materials. Now, I don't know how true that is. I'm just telling you what the marketing says. They're bulky by design, but still manage to look sleek and menacing with their sharp lines and curves. From the jagged lines on the shell toe to the protruding lines on the midsole, you can tell that these boots mean business. The branding is minimal, featuring the classic Adidas trefoil logo embossed on the side shaft of the boots. They also feature the classic and iconic shell toe design, remixed just a little bit. Surprisingly, the foam material is extremely soft and light inside and out. Now, this is coming from someone who previously didn't have any experience with the foam style as a whole. There's also enough structure in the upper to keep them from folding like a lawn chair when you wear them, which means a lot to me because they're very, very malleable. Conversely, the insole feels like you're walking on a set of pillows. You can see Adidas pushing the boundaries of what this Aditech can actually do. But then there's the sizing, which I think is really the first missed opportunity here. They're women's only. Do my ladies run this? Well, when it comes to these, yes, they absolutely do. Though I will give Adidas some credit for having enough foresight to manufacture this up to a women's 11.5, which would equate to a men's 10.5. So if you're a men's 10.5 or lower, go for it, champ. You can get them. If you wear anything bigger, you're out of luck because they fit pretty true to size. Now, for some odd reason, out of the 7 colorways that they had on the website, not one of them came in a size 11. It went from 10.5 in women's to 11.5 in women's. Now, having these in hand, I don't think I could have done the 10.5. It would have been too small. Conversely, this 11.5, which equates to a men's 10.5, is too big for me. I do feel like the women's 11 would have been the sweet spot for me. Now, I first encountered these probably like a lot of you did through Adidas's Instagram marketing specifically. In tracking these over the last few months, I noticed that they were always pushed as a product shot, but never any on foot or any type of styling with them, even like Adidas tracksuits. It's just always a flat shot of the shoes from a few different angles. Now, this made it very, very difficult to figure out the height or the width of the shoes, or even how they would look paired with anything. And I feel like this is another huge missed opportunity for Adidas here with these shoes, because I think if more people could have seen how they looked in them, they would have sold so much better and been way more popular than they actually are. Even scrolling through YouTube, there's very few reviews about these shoes available. But don't you worry about it, Adidas. I'm here to help fix some of those mistakes. Now, taking a look at the on foot, you'll immediately notice the bulkiness typical of these foam and rubber shoes. I would argue that Adidas has done a solid job of cutting some of that bulkiness down. It really leads to a much more palatable version of the foam shoe, not looking so ridiculously cartoonish like some of the other iterations of the foam shoe we've seen in the past. You also get a good sense at how much these sharp lines really help elevate the look of this boot and make them feel really trendy and of the moment. The foam makes the boots feel bouncy when you move in them, and it does really feel like you're walking on air. Styling with these is pretty easy as long as you keep one baseline assumption in mind. It's gonna make everything that you wear look edgy, especially these black ones. Still, these work with both jeans and shorts and pretty much everything in between. Now, of course, I put together a few looks that we're gonna go through so you can see how I'm styling them. Starting with this first one, which I think of as kind of a spicy tech adjacent fit. Shout out to my boy People by Their Covers. So I paired my Kith tactical vest with this raglan long sleeve button up from Korean upstart Well Done. Now I love the boxy and extended cut on this one. Pairing this long line shirt with the crop vest really creates this interesting line at the torso. For the bottoms, I went with my Rick Owens Bella Paz shorts, also in black. When you bring these three pieces together with the boots, it really creates a look that is 2 part serious, 1 part comically oversized. Now I finished off the look with my scumbag approved Oakley field jacket sunglasses. The shape reminds me of some of the styles that Rick Owens makes, is just a lot more friendly to my wallet. Public service announcement. I'm entering my scumbag summer era, and let me tell you, this fit screams scumbag from the rafters. Starting with this cozy, boxy, and risque hoodie from Brashy Studios. It's the perfect top layer for breezy spring days and summer nights. I love the risque graphic on the back, as it really does get people talking when they see you in it. Now under the hoodie, my black Subi Biggie tee that I've worn pretty much into the ground. I mean, it's basically barely black at this point. I still wear it because I've washed it so much at this point. It's just so cozy and comfortable to wear. Now I pair with my Levi's rib cage flare jeans from their women's collection in this wash black color. The big ass flare covers almost the entire boot, only leaving a little bit of that toe box peeking out so you can see that menacing shell toe grill. So it's safe to say that I'm living my scumbag jeans pairing all of these things together. And of course we got to bring back the Oakley field jacket sunglasses because nothing else screams scumbag quite like a pair of wrap Oakley shades. Well, maybe another pair of Oakleys I'm going to show you later. So continuing the scumbag summer vibes, we have this really cozy Rick Owens fit that I put together, starting with this dark shadow Jason's Penta hoodie. Now I know it's getting warm out there and a hoodie might be a little too hot, so that's why I paired it with this Urban Outfitters mesh tank top. It's light, it's comfortable, and most importantly, it's breathable. So it's gonna work well under the hoodie and still look pretty decent when you take the hoodie off. For the bottoms, I went with my Rick Owens Mastodon cargos for a very slim and sleek look. Now you can always swap the Mastodon cargos out for a baggier sweatpant. Just make sure it has the little elastic band at the bottom on the hemline, just to make it easier to tuck inside the boots like I did with these Mastodon cargos. Now I finished off the look with all of my accessories. Make sure you check out my last video here, as well as one of my favorite sunglasses, my Crew Aubrey Nylon. Now this next look is another relaxed and reckless look, as I thought these Superstar boots would pair nicely with these Erica Manuel boucle shorts I picked up last year in this very vibrant green color. It's giving Grinch that stole Florida. For the top, this Porter Robinson tour tee I picked up a few years ago when I saw him down in Miami. I love the graphic as it kind of reminds me of something that Kid Super would have done. I love wearing shorts with long sleeve shirts, and though the greens don't match, it's kind of the point. I wrapped up the look with my Subi bandana tied around my head and these Oakley die cutter shades. I love the clash that you get from those fire red mirror lenses. And if these sunglasses don't scream ultimate scumbag, I don't know what does. Now I would say this might be the most outlandish fit of this whole set of fits I put together, so I would probably reserve this one for festival season. Now the last fit is what I would consider my final scumbag form, and the focus this time is excess. Excessive rips, excessive bling, excessive logos. This blinged out Subi denim jacket does pretty much all of the talking when you walk into a rave. It's a great conversation piece and kind of the anchor for this fit. Now when you pair this jacket with these Subi anti-K ripped up jeans, you're the loudest voice in the room without saying one word. The jeans are baggy, but they have a slight taper at the hemline, which makes it very easy to tuck inside the boots, though they are wide enough for you to lay them on top of the boots too and cover up the shaft. Then bringing in this Jill Sonder logo tee just really kind of brings the outfit to some Y2K vibes when paired with the boots. And to finish it off, of course, some sunglasses, this time from Miami local Penny Rose Optical. These crystal and chrome Havana frames are the perfect fit for this look. So what are my impressions? These are good. In fact, really good. Even at the original $110 price point, you're getting a solid pair of comfy, trendy, and stylish boots that will keep your feet dry on a rainy day. Now, I got them for about $40, which is a no-brainer. Still, with these being so affordable, functional, and stylish, why don't we see more of these sprinkled around social media? Why are there barely any reviews of these on YouTube? Well, I got a few theories about that. My first theory is that they only came in women's sizes, which I think is probably the most obvious theory, but I have a few reasons why I think this. The shoe itself is actually pretty gender neutral, at least in my opinion, and I think there was a huge missed opportunity at the very least doing more expanded sizing in these. I personally posted a video and a photo of myself wearing these boots with one of these outfits on Instagram, and I got quite a few guys that hit me up and were like, oh, I didn't know that these came in men's sizes. So they had seen the advertising that you put out there and were interested in the boots, but balked at it because it only came in women's sizes. Then you couple that with the fact that the largest sizes are always going in and out of stock. Adidas is just leaving a lot on the table by not making these unisex. Speaking of those weird IG ads, you would think Adidas would have done a similar rollout for these that they did for the sneaker version of this. Instead, there really didn't seem to be any push or rollout for these outside of being placed in front of your face as a really cool sales shoe. I think this has really diminished the value of this boot and extracted any level of urgency to buy. Adidas has what I think would have been a surefire hit, but they introduced it to the market with a whimper. But there may have been a reason for this. Style fatigue. Adidas entered this category on what I would consider the tail end of the trend, Yeezy offerings notwithstanding. The Bottega boot has been around for nearly 5 years now, and a lot of the luster's worn off. And the same could be said for pretty much any of those trendy rubber or foam shoes. My theory is that Adidas is looking at this particular boot less as a trendy boot that happens to be functional and more like a functional boot that happens to be stylish. I'd assume that this boot's product life cycle will be right around 2 years, and they'll probably stop making it altogether, only for it to fall into obscurity and for someone like me to remember it 10 years later and talk about how cool they were and how I wish I could get a pair. Now, I don't know any of this for a fact. I don't have any inside sources, but having some experience with this over the years, it just kind of fits the usual cycle for products like this. Either way, it's a solid boot that I think Adidas should have made unisex and put a little bit more behind. Now, if you've had your eyes on these, they come highly recommended from me, pending that you can get your actual size. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, you'll probably enjoy one of the two on the screen, and until next time, peace.